We just heard from the downed F-15 pilot over Iran for the very first time, and what he claims he saw is absolutely unreal, as the original story of a shoulder-fired rocket taking down his jet appears to be shifting to an advanced drone swarm. Plus, the Air Force's newest fighter jet trainer has even more problems, and officials are getting worried. Thomas Mott, this is MachSquawk. It's pretty crazy that it's been almost 4 months since the F-15 pilot and his Wizzo were shot down over Iran, and yet today we got our first real look behind the scenes at what he actually saw and went through whenever he went down. But instead of like a detailed sit down with him on camera giving us all the details, we got multiple leaks from inside the Pentagon today about what he saw right before pulling the ejection seat that have absolutely shocked everybody. As a newly released CNN exclusive goes from wild to downright crazy, noting, quote, a U.S. fighter pilot rescued by special forces after being shot down over Iran in April described a shocking sight before ejecting from his aircraft. Multiple Iranian drones hovering in the air, moving as one, in a formation that resembled a jellyfish, according to 4 sources familiar with the matter. Which obviously is pretty wild, but a lot of people are focusing on the headline of a jellyfish type formation, and they're trying to tie this into the whole UAP alien thing. That is not what we're talking about here. Jellyfish is a wording, it's the Iranian drone swarm that really is interesting. Which, just in case you're confused, one of the recurring images, or I guess crafts, shown in the continued trove of UAP declassification videos is what experts describe as a jellyfish-looking object, which you see on your screen right here, and I guess it's aptly named because, yeah, that looks like a jellyfish, but we don't know what it is. That, however, is not what the F-15 Strike Eagle pilot is talking about here. They use the word jellyfish, it really helps create the crazy headline, but that's not what he's talking about. Just take the UAP stuff, set it aside, focus again on the Iranian drone swarm coordinating together to take down an F-15. With one source familiar to the pilot's account saying, quote, multiple drones interconnected and moving as one, with smaller drones below the bigger drones like legs, adding that it looked like, quote, real alien stuff. Now, before we get back to the story, I want to quickly just mention we are almost to 10,000 subs here on the channel in under 2 months. I appreciate you guys, and so I want to do a giveaway for my US viewers only, an F-22 Raptor t-shirt you see on your screen right here. I'm going to go pick one person in the comments section who is subscribed, drops a like on today's video, and also leaves a hype if you can to win this one once we hit 10,000 subs, so give me a comment and a like down below. Now, of course, the Pentagon is reportedly still investigating exactly what happened, but I can't help but remember the initial reports from this whole situation suggested that a Chinese shoulder-fired missile launcher, or MANPAD, was the actual weapon used to shoot down the pilot and his Wizzo. With reports suggesting the Strike Eagle was likely flying low to the ground, or to terrain map, stay away from enemy air missiles, which allowed him to be locked on and fired upon by the advanced Chinese shoulder-fired weapon. And that report went mega viral all over the news, all over social media. It was a MANPAD. That's what shot down the F-15. But again, that was the original report, and now we have this one, which says it's not that at all. Plus, MANPADs aren't typically known for taking out fast movers. I noted that in my original video a couple of weeks ago. Like historically, they're more employed to take out helicopters or slow-moving C-130s, heavies, or even drones. So when the initial MANPAD report came out, my first thought was kind of, wow, China must have given Iran some really advanced new version. But again, according to this brand new CNN exclusive, if it's correct, obviously we don't know, MANPAD, not the case, we go back to, again, this weird drone swarm. Although, of course, the CNN article also does float the idea that U.S. officials interviewing the downed Strike Eagle pilot thought he might have just been seeing things because it was so crazy, as the pilot was reportedly concussed in the crash, and was also the exact same pilot, we talked about this, who had been shot out of the sky a couple of weeks earlier by the friendly Kuwaiti F-18. So we're talking about a pilot here who's been shot out of his F-15 and ejected, which is a crazy thing to do, twice in about a month. And sure, maybe the pilot was seeing things, maybe he was concussed and disoriented, there's a lot of stuff going on whenever you're ejecting from a fast-moving F-15, but the article did go into deep, really, information saying that the pilot was very confident. He saw what he saw. And so let's just go with this. Apparently, we have a brand new technology that Iran reportedly was not supposed to have. As according to CNN, the technical term for whatever this capability described by the pilot is called one-to-many mesh networking, which is a technology that allows a single operator to command several drones at a time. With one expert mentioning, quote, if it can coordinate itself into a recognizable shape and maintain that shape, and if it's got explosives on board, and if it's holding resources in reserve to attack whenever the first volley didn't destroy it, that's a very capable approach. Which I guess describes the capability. It doesn't go into very big detail other than the fact that they're coordinating together and I guess you fly into it. We'll talk about that in a second. But the real report of this entire article is that the US knows China and Russia have this type of capability. They did not think Iran had anything close. So I think the obvious conclusion here is that China or Russia likely gave Iran the weapon system and then got to witness firsthand just how effective it is in a real-life combat situation. But again, we don't exactly know how this thing works. Like the pilot describes seeing the drone swarm. And the article doesn't talk about the pilot flying through the drone swarm, or that the drone swarm was the one that actually attacked the pilot and shot it down. And so what exactly are we dealing with here? Is it a stationary drone swarm that you position correctly and an F-15 flies through? That seems a little bit hard to believe. But is it also a drone swarm that can go attack an F-15, that can fly fast enough to catch up with an F-15? That seems unlikely as well. And so again, we hear drone swarm, but there's not many more details after that. What we do know, however, is that drone warfare is clearly the future and that all militaries are rapidly investing R&D in. With one drone expert telling CNN in this article, quote, "We will spend huge dollars, like a lot of blood and treasure, protecting ourselves from something that can coordinate like that, for an obviously the threat posed by mesh networking capabilities for drones. And obviously not just how we defend against it, but how we actually have it ourselves and how America, I'm sure they already do, but can they employ something like this in their own battle space to take down enemy fighters?" All in all, I do think it's important to point out that the facts here are very hazy and we don't exactly know what it is. What we do know is that all the headlines, including the CNN one, emphasizes the jellyfish headline to kind of make you think it's more like alien tech, but that's not the case. What it appears CNN is mentioning here and the F-15 pilot apparently saw was a drone swarm that was capable of potentially taking out an F-15. It's a new tech, it's a tech that the public does not know about, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on as either new wars open up or the Iran war pops back open, who knows? But this is an overall crazy story. Curious your thoughts down below. Now, moving on to the other exclusive story out of fighter pilot training today, and Breaking Defense claims to have seen an internal Air Force presentation that says the first several years of the new fighter trainer, the T-7 Red Hawk, will come with, quote, serious airworthiness risks. As the Red Hawk, if you don't know, is the T-38 replacement, a modern trainer for modern fighter pilot platforms that will dramatically reshape how Air Force pilots actually train to fly jets like the F-35 and F-22. But the Boeing-built T-7 Red Hawk has been plagued with a ton of issues since 2018 when the Air Force gave Boeing the contract, hence why it keeps getting delayed to where actual future fighter pilots can train in the T-7. As well, the first few jets have arrived at Randolph Air Force Base in Texas to undergo initial testing, their Education and Training Command. The timeline to get student pilots in the cockpits in the new T-7 looks to be no closer than 2028. But according to this exclusive from Breaking Defense, they were able to view an investigation report from 2015 that claimed numerous issues, including the first 82 T-7 aircraft are projected to fly with a serious airworthiness risk. Sources familiar with the program are concerned that attempts to get the T-7 to the fleet faster could increase risk for junior pilots. The Air Force has assessed sustainment of the aircraft as, quote, high risk. Adding that internal Air Force documents say Boeing's failure to provide certain data on the aircraft amounts to non-compliance on the part of the company. And also, the plane cannot fly in the rain. The program has struggled with ground-based simulators. The Air Force and Boeing are officially mulling a plan to change how the government buys the aircraft's engines at an additional taxpayer cost up to $1.5 billion, which doesn't sound too good. Serious airworthiness risks, not being able to fly in the rain, not too confident in that. Now, apparently, two sources who spoke with Breaking Defense did say the Red Hawk shows promise and believe the officials are dedicated to safety. But they raised concern about the aircraft's speed of development and argues that the government has failed to hold Boeing to the terms it signed up for, pointing to consequences like delays and millions of dollars of added costs that may have been carried by the taxpayer. To which the Air Force and Boeing both commented back to Breaking Defense for this article saying, "We are aware of these concerns, we understand these concerns, but we are taking care of them and they're not a concern to us." But as Breaking Defense did claim, quote, many of the problems ultimately trace back to the initial T-7 contract awarded Boeing by the Air Force in 2018. A fixed-price agreement that has caused the company to lose billions of dollars, as marked by disputes between the two sides about what the contract requires Boeing to provide. With a pressing need for a new trainer, Air Force officials have sought workarounds and new initiatives to keep the program moving forward, adding later that essentially the Air Force is urgently trying to replace the 60-year-old and often dangerous T-38, potentially at the risk of rushing the T-7s a bit too fast. Boeing, of course, did again respond to these questions by saying, quote, while we're working to get this capability to the warfighter as quickly as possible, we will not forego safety or quality. Safety is paramount to Boeing and the T-7A program. And so essentially we have a he said, she said sort of situation. The Breaking Defense article is very well sourced. They're very confident. It's exclusive. And they're so confident that the Air Force and Boeing both responded to questions from Breaking Defense on the whole situation. So Breaking Defense says they saw this old referendum 2015 overall briefing that says there's a problem going on. Here's the whole list of problems. Whereas obviously Boeing and the Air Force said, we understand, we know the problems, but we're fixing them and we're not concerned. In the meantime, though, we still have at least 2 years until the first student pilots, as I mentioned, get inside the T-7s in 2028. And so my hope is overall, any safety issues will be resolved well before then. But in the meantime, Air Education and Training Command, they have no other choice but to wait patiently because as it stands right now, the Air Force needs fighter pilots. They're still training fighter pilots every single day, and their only option is the very old T-38 Talon, and they're going to fly that until the Red Hawks are ready, which, again, is not until 2028. Now, of course, plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks. Be sure to subscribe, drop a like, leave a hype. I appreciate you guys. We're almost to 10,000 subscribers here on a channel that's less than 2 months old. We did 1.6 million views just this past week, and so if you're new, I appreciate you guys. We're having a lot of fun on this channel, giving you guys quick, bite-sized consumable Air Force, military, aviation news, updates, rumors, all the stuff going on in that world. There's a ton. I like to cover it here on the channel, and so be sure to go ahead and subscribe, and we'll stay tuned for the next one. Thomas Mott, this has been MachSquawk.